For as long as I can remember, I've always been a video game nerd. I guess I like the virtual world better than the real one because I never really had any friends while I was growing up. Everyone would pick on me, calling me a loser and all sorts of names. So I decided to make video games my friends. And I didn't regret doing it for one bit. Let me tell you a story about what happened to me on a normal Wednesday afternoon. At that time, I was taking a stroll in a beautiful high-end neighborhood. As I was walking, I felt something hitting the back of my head. It was really cold and wet, and in a couple of seconds, it started running down my back, ruining my shirt and pants. I put my hand up and discovered that it was ice cream. I turned around and saw about 5 kids, who couldn't be more than 12, laughing at me. "Did you like the ice cream, freak?" one of them asked me. I guess my appearance made me an easy target for bullies, even though they were just kids. "That's not nice," I said, but before I would get a reply, I was surprised with another ice cream hitting my face. I wiped it off my glasses and saw the 12-year-olds running towards me in a menacing way. I turned around and started running away, but since my glasses were still smudged, I tripped in a crack on the sidewalk and fell flat on my face, breaking one of my lenses. I got up and saw that I was in front of an antique store. Then, I heard the kids yelling at me and saying that they will beat me up. "You're gonna get it, freak. That'll teach not to come to this neighborhood again." I didn't want to suffer the public humiliation of getting beat up by some kids. So I went inside the antique store. There was mostly old furniture, old rugs, everything dusty and looking bad. The place even had a bad smell to it. I continued to look around and found an old video game cartridge. A very old video game. But it didn't have any Nintendo or any company's name on it. I asked the store clerk about it, but he said he didn't know anything about the game as he continued to read his paper. I finally bought it because I had an old Super Nintendo at home. After I got home, I blew on the cartridge and stuck it in the console. The screen turned red, and an eerie sound started playing. It was like some sort of grumbling combined with the sound of fingernails scratching on a blackboard. The game had no label and no anything on the cartridge, so I didn't know what was it all about. After that intro, if you could call it that, a head popped up on the screen, but it was severed. Blood coming out of the bottom of it. And it started to speak in a language that I didn't understand. I guess that the game was foreign. Soon after that, my arms started tingling. I blamed it on the fact that I haven't eaten much that day. The game finally started and I saw a woman, all chained up to a brick wall. But I couldn't control anything. It was like it was a cutscene. My vision got blurry. And I almost fainted, dropping the controller from my hand. I didn't feel well, so I decided to go to bed. I went to sleep and got up in the middle of the night. I went downstairs for a glass of water and saw that someone started up the game in the TV. It was my younger sister. She was just sitting there, looking at the screen, which was red. I asked her what she was doing, but she didn't respond, and when I got close, I saw that her eyes were white. Then she started speaking that language from the game. I screamed and didn't know what to do. She suddenly attacked me, jumping all the way up my shoulders and proceeding to scratch my face. I managed to get her off and immobilize her on the floor. "Martha, what are you doing?" I asked her while trying to make sense of the situation. But she didn't respond. She just screamed, and as she did, her voice got deeper and deeper to the point when it sounded like a demon was talking to me through my sister. With one swift movement, she threw me against the wall where I hit my head. I couldn't believe that my little sister could ever do that. I looked around for something to use for my protection, but she was so fast. In a blink of a second, my sister was right in front of my face. She put her hands around my neck and started squeezing till the point when almost all of the blood supply to my brain was cut. I tried desperately to push her away, but it was impossible. During the struggle, I kept moving my legs to maybe get some leverage on her. My right leg got tangled up in the console's power cord and I accidentally unplugged it. At that moment, Martha collapsed on the floor, as if she was dead. I stood there for a second, trying to regain my composure. "Martha, are you okay? Martha?" I then started to ask her. Eventually, she opened her eyes. "What happened?" she said in a confused tone of voice. "You're alive." I yelled out of joy and hugged her so tight. Without wasting any time, I took the game out of its slot and went into the backyard. I poured some alcohol on it and set it on fire. While it was burning, a faint scream could be heard, but as soon as the plastic and its content turned into ashes, the scream stopped. That night, I tucked in my sister and watched her until morning, to make sure she was okay.